This episode is brought to you by Domain.com. So what's next for OnePlus, the so-called flagship killer? Now first, allow me to take you through a very brief OnePlus history lesson. OnePlus was really one of the first manufacturers to do what Chinese manufacturers are good at doing, producing decent electronics at scale and selling them at bargain prices. Now this was so much so that one could arguably say that the OnePlus One was an even better bang for your buck bargain than the Nexus 5. Where OnePlus One began to stumble is in their marketing. Now for those of you who've been following me for some time, you might be thinking, Jayce, you yourself said that they were very good at the whole social media marketing thing. And that's very true, but consider this. Yes, they understand supply and demand, they build demand through marketing, and then they limit the supply by their invite system. But here's the problem, there's conflicting branding that confuses the consumer. On the one hand, they're building a so-called best bang for your buck price, right? A flagship powered without the flagship price. And that's great, but then they make it precious to get, very difficult to get. And at some point, when the invite system becomes a hassle, or people believe it becomes a hassle, at some point you just order the Nexus 5 because that's gonna be here in 2 days and I'm not gonna deal with the hassle. When you have a very expensive device, a device that's limited in supply, truly limited in supply, not limited arbitrarily, but it's truly limited, then yes, you want to make it expensive and difficult to get. That's a whole different marketing strategy. But you don't have that strategy when you have a best bang for your buck bargain product. You want to make that easily accessible to get, like Google did with the Nexus 5. Aside from the difficulty in actually buying a OnePlus One, the handset was special as it was the first time we really saw any company offer a flagship handset at an affordable price, aside from, of course, the Nexus 5. Although the likes of Xiaomi had done this before in select markets, OnePlus gained significant global traction very quickly, much faster than any of the other established players had managed to do up until that time. But in the year that passed between the OnePlus One and the OnePlus 2, OnePlus's rivals caught up and even surpassed the company. Let's take a look at the OnePlus 2 specs and how it compares to other flagships. Now, although it's not exactly a geek's phone because it lacks expandable storage and NFC, it's still a great bang for your buck phone. But, as you can see, when you compare the OnePlus 2 to similarly priced products, OnePlus suddenly faces significant competition from more established players who have the distribution channels and partners to put their devices in more hands quicker than OnePlus can. Case in point, you remember the number one reason why Cyanogen ended the partnership with OnePlus? It was distribution. Cyanogen knew that OnePlus did not have the muscle to get their phones in enough hands. It couldn't reach enough consumers. It's really hard to get a OnePlus device. My mother-in-law can't go down the street and buy a OnePlus phone like she can buy a new Samsung phone, and that's gonna be an issue, a big issue. In fact, the primary issue for OnePlus's future. Coupled with this, OnePlus also failed on the launch of the OnePlus 2, which the company has publicly admitted. Ahead of the handset's launch, OnePlus said they would have 30 to 50 times the inventory, yet they repeatedly missed dates for releasing invites even after the handset's launch on August 11th. Customers with invites couldn't buy the handset. The dreaded invite system, which some would say maybe worked well on the first handset, proved to be its downfall this time round. In addition, the OnePlus 2 failed to bring Quad HD, which many expected. Instead, it has a 5.5-inch Full HD display that doesn't stand out in any way. And it fails to have NFC, which the company suggested that they left out because no one uses NFC. But there's one slight problem with that. Mobile payments are growing to become a large part of the smartphone industry, and the lack of NFC immediately rules out the OnePlus 2 from this key growth market. But we all know that the title of flagship killer cannot be won just on specs alone. That's a combination of features, marketing, and price. But none of that is going to mean anything if they can't get their device in more markets. So I've been revamping my website and I wanted to invite your feedback. You can check it out at undividedcompany.com, of course. Now, why is that? Because no domain name extension tells your story with the same degree of trust as a .com or .net domain name. .com and .net domain name extensions inject credibility into your online presence. Save 15% on domain names and web hosting when you use our coupon code Android at domain.com checkout. When you think domain names, think domain.com. Thanks for watching, Android Army. My name is Jayce. Love to connect with you right here on Google Plus or Twitter. You don't want to forget about my brothers and sister in Android who are working super hard to be your source for all things Android.